Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go over the different changes to the Alaska Airlines credit cards and also the Alaska Airlines award chart. Now, Alaska Airlines, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, have some of the strongest miles in the points and miles game. Alaska Airlines typically flies up the west coast of the US and over to Hawaii. However, even if you don't have to fly on Alaska Airlines, it still can make a lot of sense to earn their miles because of the different sweet spots that they have. I have a first class flight that I booked for later on this year from Tokyo to LAX that would typically cost around the range of like $10,000. However, I was able to book this with just the sign up of one Alaskan Airlines credit card. Now, if you're someone who actually likes to fly over to Asia, getting yourself Alaskan Airlines miles can end up being incredibly valuable for you. Now, there's some changes that are happening to both the Alaskan Airlines personal credit card and their business credit card. Previously, the Alaska Airlines personal credit card gave you 3x back on Alaska Airlines flights. It gave you 1x back on all other purchases. It also gave you a discount on a day pass to the Alaska Airlines lounge. Additionally, with this card, you get access to a companion pass, which will allow you to book a flight with cash and add a companion for $122 round trip. Now, this companion pass isn't as strong as something like the Southwest companion pass. However, it definitely still is very valuable. The fact of being able to get yourself a companion fare for only $122 can definitely end up saving you money from that flight. Additionally, with this card, you get yourself free check bags, up to 6 guests on the same reservation. You also get yourself 20% off in-flight purchases. Now, when it comes to the Alaska Airlines business credit card, it's pretty much a copy of the personal credit card. Both of these cards had an annual fee of $75. Now, when you looked at both of these cards, when it came to earning potential, they weren't very strong. You only got a higher multiplier on Alaska Airlines flights, getting 3x back, and then 1x back on all the purchases. But now let's actually look at the changes that are happening to the cards. So first, let's actually look at the personal credit card and the changes that are happening there. Now, they've actually added higher multiplier categories with the personal credit card. You're going to get yourself 2x back when it comes to gas stations, local transit and rideshare services, cable, and select streaming services. You can earn yourself an additional 10% bonus points on all the miles you earn with this card if you also happen to have a personal banking account with Bank of America. You get yourself early boarding position. You also get yourself $100 off an annual Alaska Lounge Plus membership. You still get to keep your companion pass, your 20% off in-flight purchases, and also you still get yourself 3x back when booking flights with Alaska Airlines. Now, when it comes to the business credit card, it's going to be very similar changes. However, the difference can end up being when it comes to the multipliers, you're going to get 2x back on gas stations, on local transit and ride shares, and then on shipping. Now, with these changes is coming a higher annual fee. It's going from $75 to $95. Now, obviously, the changes that are happening with these multipliers are going to end up being definitely more useful for people because only being able to get yourself 1x back on all purchases outside of Alaska Airlines flights definitely made this card be quite weak when it comes to earning. So having these 2x multipliers is definitely going to make this card a little bit stronger. However, adding $20 to the annual fee is definitely not something that people want to see. In my opinion, I don't know if the gains of the 2x back are even worth the additional $20 you're going to have to spend every single year of keeping this card. But if you're someone who can still take advantage of the companion pass, then these cards can definitely still make sense in your wallet. So now that we went over the different changes with the credit cards, let's actually now look at the changes with the award chart. Now, Alaska Airlines claims that these changes are going to make it way more simple for people to understand because previously what they used to have was there was a different award chart for each airline that they are partnered with. So if you want to fly to Asia, if you happen to be flying on Japan Airlines, it was going to be a different mileage amount than if you happen to be flying on Cathay Pacific. And then each airline had a different award chart, which some people might have found confusing. I actually liked it because then I knew what amount of miles it took to get to the areas I want to go to. However, Alaska Airlines feels that this can end up being simpler for people. At least this is how they try to advertise it. Now, what they've done now is they've made it so that if you happen to be flying over to Asia, they have a base level of what it's going to end up costing if you happen to fly in economy, in premium economy, in business class, or in first class. So now you end up knowing that if you fly over there, it's going to have cost you at the lowest amount, this amount. Now, the reason why it ends up being problematic is because even though it says that it's starting at a specific price, just because it says it's starting at that specific price doesn't mean that it's always actually going to be at that price. So this ends up being dynamic pricing where all of a sudden, even though it usually starts at 70,000 miles, you might end up looking at it, it might end up being 150,000 miles. So the reason why people like award charts is because you know that when you actually end up finding award availability for that specific flight, then it's only going to cost a specific amount of miles. So you know that that's the amount of miles you actually need. Whereas dynamic pricing ends up fluctuating on the cost of the miles depending on the demand for that actual flight. Now, as of recording this video, even though they've made these changes, it doesn't appear that they've done any type of big devaluation yet. However, when you actually end up having dynamic pricing, you never actually know when these big devaluations end up happening. They can just kind of secretly do it without you entirely knowing until you actually end up looking to try to book this award flight. So hopefully Alaska Airlines doesn't end up doing a big devaluation without us completely knowing, because I'm definitely still a fan of the Alaska Airlines mileage program just because of how valuable these miles actually can end up being. You do actually still end up getting yourself a free stop over with these miles. So if you actually happen to fly over to a certain region, you can stay in that region for a month if you wanted to, and then fly over to another country within that region for no additional miles in the exact same class that you end up flying to the first place. So that means if you end up flying over in first class, the second flight you end up doing within that region is also going to be in first class for no additional miles, which ends up being incredibly valuable. Now with these changes with their award purchases, they've actually also made it easier for you to actually book award flights on their website. Previously, some of them you actually had to call to actually end up booking some of their award flights. However, now with their partners, you actually can book many more award flights directly on their website. Devaluations and changes to award travel is always going to happen. This is the reason why I recommend to get yourself transferable currencies such as something like Chase Ultimate Reward Points or American Express Membership Reward Points, because at least with these programs, you have the ability to transfer over to a bunch of different partners. So if devaluations actually end up happening with a program you actually like, at least you actually have the option to transfer these points over to a different program that might end up being stronger now. Whereas if you end up racking up all of your miles with just one program, when a devaluation ends up happening, it can definitely end up seriously affecting your award travel. This is the reason why in the points and miles game, there is an earn and burn strategy that many people go by, especially with airlines, because you never actually know when these type of devaluations or changes are going to happen with these programs. Now, even though these changes have actually happened to the Alaskan Airlines credit cards and also to their award travel, I still think that the Alaskan Airlines program ends up being quite a good one, and I definitely would still recommend for people to earn Alaskan Airlines miles. For me, the additional $20 in the annual fee, I don't think is actually worth it. If they added in something like dining where you end up getting a higher multiplier, I would say fine, but I don't think that the multipliers that they're adding to give you 2x back are incredibly strong. Yes, you do end up getting gas stations, but most airline credit cards are going to at least give you dining. So the fact they don't end up giving you that, I think ends up being problematic. However, I still think it can make sense to get these cards specifically for that sign-up bonus, for that companion pass, and if you happen to be someone who lives on the West Coast and likes to fly Alaskan Airlines, then to actually get that 3x back on their miles. Because even though they are changing up their award chart, I still think this program can end up still being really strong in the future. If you want to fly in business class or in first class over to Asia for not that many miles, then the Alaskan Airlines program is going to be the way to do it. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do happen to have any questions, drop them down in the comment section down below and I'll do the best I can to answer them. If you do happen to be interested in any credit cards, I will actually have referral links in my description box. If you decide to use them, they will help out the channel and I'll be very thankful for your support. If you happen to really enjoy this video, then please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.